The Chicago White Sox completely gave one away as they lost to the first place Minnesota Twins 6-3 on Monday night. Johnny Cueto was solid and Joe Kelly was absolutely pathetic. The Sox allowed the Twins to execute a triple play because of some of the worst base running I have ever seen. The Sox need to shake it off and stop the bleeding immediately, and they'll send Michael Kopech to the mound on Tuesday.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Sox fans, welcome to Locked On White Sox. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. We're free and available on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Sox. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Locked On White Sox. Today's episode is brought to you by Blue Nile. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagement. Use code Locked On at checkout. Hey, I'm your host, Nick Morawski, a lifelong diehard Chicago White Sox fan, recording this podcast just blocks from the ballpark in beautiful Bridgeport. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Really appreciate you letting me steal some of your time to talk White Sox. Locked On White Sox is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Johnny Cueto with another quality start. Going to talk all about him. Sox offense finally hits a home run, but first, it was a very disappointing night for our Chicago White Sox. Sox lose to the Twins 6-3. Sox are now 38-40. But falling back further in the AL Central. Just horrible, absolutely horrible base running. Historically bad. The type of base running we're going to talk about has never happened before. Luis Robert losing the ball out in center field twice in the sky, just couldn't find it, and it cost the Sox. We're going to get to that. And Joe Kelly was pathetic in relief. The Minnesota Twins are my most despised AL Central opponent. I'm sure people ask you this as Sox fans all the time: is who do you dislike the most? Is it the Royals, the Tigers, the Guardians, the Twins? And it sometimes changes. There were moments, years especially growing up, when the Guardians, who were at that point the Indians, they had some just dynamite teams. And, Sox just didn't have a chance. Of course, Detroit had moments, especially in 2006, of playing spoiler. The Royals, during some of their hot seasons. But the Twins have always just kind of been around, needling, a thorn in the side. Sox were swept by Minnesota earlier this year. It has not gone well for the White Sox this season. Seeing Minnesota stay in first place, being jumped by the Guardians a while back, and the Sox have been sitting in third place for quite some time. We've talked about it on this podcast. You know it as a diehard Sox fan yourself. This is a huge month for our Chicago White Sox. 19 divisional games as we entered Monday. The 3 with Minnesota, 4 with Detroit, then at Cleveland for 4, at Minnesota for 4, your all-star game break, and then 4 with Cleveland. Good thing on Monday before the game, Liam Hendriks and Adam Engel did return. Both saw action in Monday night's loss. Also, just a quote from Lucas Giolito on the San Francisco series. This is what Lucas said. We came to play this series. This is the brand of baseball the Chicago White Sox are all about. I thought that was an interesting quote because, unfortunately, That was not the type of baseball that was played on Monday by our Chicago White Sox. Not at all. Some numbers for you that I noticed before Monday's game. White Sox batting their slash line on the road, 272, 321, 397, compared to at home, 233, 296, and 355. Noticeably lower at home. And this is what Tony La Russa had to say. I guarantee you those numbers will be reversed at home from here to the end. We're going to be a very good club at home. Also from Tony La Russa, he said that Monday night's game is a big game for Eloy Jimenez in determining how soon he can return. That's, of course, the Charlotte game. Grandal still wrapping up activity after doing some hitting and running in San Francisco. He was scheduled to throw to bases on Monday, but it was delayed due to rain. And then a stat line on Jose Abreu going against Minnesota starter Dylan Bundy. Against Dylan Bundy in his career, Jose Abreu slashing 389, 368, and 611. That is telling because Abreu was really one of the only bright spots offensively that we'll get to in a little bit. Sox had opportunities, and they finally hit a home run, but it was what they did on the base paths that will be talked about for a very long time. More on that in a moment. At BlueNile.com, you can celebrate all of life's special moments, from creating the custom engagement ring of her dreams to gifting a classic and timeless jewelry piece, all at prices you won't find at a traditional jeweler. Whether you're ready to pop the question or you're celebrating a milestone moment, find jewelry as unique as her with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. Blue Nile has simple online tools that let you choose the diamond shape, size, and clarity, as well as setting style. Blue Nile's bench jewelers will then handcraft her perfect engagement ring. Each ring is one of a kind. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com, and Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagement. Use code LOCKED ON. That's code LOCKED ON. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. Shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today. All right, Sox lost 6-3 to the Minnesota Twins. Offense, there were opportunities. First inning, Twins were throwing some leather early on, though. Andrew Vaughn rips one into the gap, but Max Kepler made a catch in right center. Really nice grab. Sox were quiet in the first. In the second, Sox strike first with Jose Abreu leading off with a home run to right field quickly. 1-0 Sox. The White Sox have been on a home run drought. They have not been hitting home runs, 3 in their last 14. So it was nice to see early in the game Jose Abreu getting things started. Third inning, Sox had a few guys on, 2 outs with Robert up and could not extend the lead. He had a rough night at the plate. Fourth inning, Sheets with a 1-out single. Sheets has been swinging the bat well as of late. We've talked about it on this podcast. You have probably heard about it on the NBC Sports Chicago pre and post with Chuck and Ozzy. A lot of folks writing about how Sheets went down to Charlotte, got his swing right. He spoke about it himself. This single he had in the fourth, he hit it on the screws. It was like a 2-iron out to right center, but the Sox could not do anything with that. Sixth inning, Minnesota finally goes to the bullpen, and they've got the 16th best ERA in all of baseball, but Sox go down in order. Seventh inning is when things get really wild. Leading things off in the inning is Jose Abreu, and he gets hit by a pitch. As soon as the ball whizzed past him into the catcher's mitt, he turned to the dugout and pointed to whomever will look at the video replay at the time, and just kind of brushed his forearm, brushed his arm, saying, "Hey, it grazed me." It was called a ball by the home plate umpire. So they went to video review, and Jason and Steve on the telecast are looking at the video review. And Steve made a comment, I believe, this should be a short review. You could clearly see in the video replay the ball changes direction slightly after passing Jose Abreu's arm. It grazed off of him. The folks in New York making the call, reviewing things, completely got it wrong. They did not reverse the call, so Abreu had to stay up there and have an at-bat. So what does Abreu do? This is what I find just fascinating about a guy like Jose Abreu, who's just, he's got that TW. He crushes a double into left center. So here's a guy that, you could see the reaction of Jose Abreu after that pitch. I got hit. Look at it. We'll all see it on the video. And there were several different angles that they showed on NBC Sports Chicago. I don't understand how New York could get this so wrong, but home plate umpire was rough all night long. We're definitely going to get to more of that later. But here, Abreu knows he got hit, forced back in the batter's box, which he's been swinging the bat well, so he probably doesn't mind. But it was almost like an anger thing of like, okay, if you want me to hit, well, I'm going to make you guys pay for it, and crushes a double, bounce into the outfield bleacher seats. So you got Gavin Sheets up. Well, he actually gets hit by a pitch. So you got two on, and Moncada's up, and he just, with a flick of his wrist, Yohan knocks an outside pitch through a massive hole on the left side of the infield. I have no idea what Minnesota was doing defensively there, but the game is now tied at 2. Okay, so you got runners on. Pollock is up with runners at second and first with nobody out. This is where things get absolutely bonkers. Pollock drives the ball to deep center. Now, off the bat, I can imagine both those base runners thinking, this is going to be off the wall, but you've got nobody out, and the way Moncada started running, Buxton tracked it down and made the catch. I mean, great play in center field. Moncada just kept going, almost like there were 2 outs, and he is past second base. Engel is kind of stuck in no man's land in between second and third. He starts running to third. But the thing is, Engel never went to second base to tag up at second. So Buxton throws the ball in. Minnesota quickly tags Moncada and then steps on second base. It's a triple play. I have never seen it. I don't think anybody has ever seen it. The reaction alone from Tony La Russa, the camera panned to him, just mouth open, staring out into the field like, what just happened here? 2 guys on, nobody out. Sox trying to make a charge here at home, 4th of July, trying to beat the Twins here. And that type of base running play is uncalled for. Absolutely horrible. You can't have that kind of stuff. You can't gift wrap these types of games to a first place team. We saw that in San Francisco. San Francisco booting the ball everywhere, throwing it everywhere, basically hand delivering these wins to the Sox. And we took it, and we didn't apologize, and we swept San Francisco, and we left. And we come home in front of our home crowd, and I can't imagine what Engel and Moncada were thinking. Perhaps Engel, Chuck in the postgame was talking a little bit about maybe Engel saw Moncada flying around and was like, well, I got to get running to third. What was Moncada doing? What was Engel doing? Hey, great catch by Buxton, but that was just that base running situation almost defines the 2022 White Sox. It's just, opportunities, big hit by Moncada. We tie the game up, all this momentum, and then we take several steps backwards. It was something this is going to be talked about for a while. Hopefully the Sox get right back on track on Tuesday and on Wednesday, and this doesn't sit. But if things don't go well for our White Sox, we're going to be coming back to this Monday situation. It's just unreal. So let's talk ninth inning. Robert leads off, and they are working him outside. They've got the scouting report on Robert, as I think most teams do. Throw some sliders away, get him to chase some things outside of the zone. And of course, Robert eventually swings at an outside pitch and pops out into foul territory. Abreu then quickly flies out to right field. Engel walks. And I'm wondering, is he going to be a threat to potentially steal? Just coming back from this hamstring injury, Moncada is up. And sure enough, in the at-bat, Engel runs. Was initially called safe, but then it was reviewed. It was overturned. 3 outs. That's it. We go to extras. And, there was some, activity in extras. Pollock with an RBI single. Sebi with a base hit. Sebi's really been hitting the ball well. I got to say, he had a couple hits on Monday night. And they're not just, excuse me, hits. I mean, he's putting a charge into some of these baseballs. So Tim Anderson bats with 2 outs. He is the tying run, and he strikes out. Ball gets away, and Anderson decides not to run to first base. And that was it offensively for our White Sox. Final line, 3 runs, 8 hits, 2 extra base hits, both by Abreu, a double and a home run. Sox were 3 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Abreu 2 for 4, Zavala 2 for 4. But I am sorry, it is that 7th inning base running, historically bad situation that is going to define this game. There were other moments that will define this game. Johnny Cueto, he had it going on, but Joe Kelly. If you're not talking about the base running, you're talking about Joe Kelly completely imploding in relief. More on that in a moment. This episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing the only brand their warehouse happens to carry? You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. Save time and money when using Rock Auto. Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution to your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Write Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. So here's some great stuff in terms of pitching for our White Sox starting staff. They flashed this graphic at the beginning of the game. Last 9 games, this is how it's gone for our starters. ERA 3.17, innings 54 of them, hits 41, walks 17, strikeouts 56. 7 of the 9 starts went 6+ innings. And you really have to thank Johnny Cueto for that. He was on the mound Monday night. He was getting pinched all night long by a home plate umpire. But Cueto was more than serviceable. He was solid in his outing. First inning, though, Arise. Boy, this guy is going to be a handful the rest of this season. Arise with a leadoff double. He's got the best batting average in baseball. Now, this is one of the 2 moments where Robert just completely lost the ball. I think in the first inning, he lost it in the sun. Ball went sailing over his head. So Arise is at second. Buxton pops up. Sebi made the play, but it was Moncada's all along. Almost a nasty collision. That would have been really bad. It didn't seem like Sebi heard Moncada calling him off. There was a walk and then another walk. You got bases loaded, one out for Polanco. He taps one back to Cueto. He gets the force at home, and then off to Abreu for a perfect inning-ending double play. Second inning, leadoff single, but Sox were able to turn another double play and get the final out. No damage done. Third inning, Cueto, 31 pitches entering the third. He's got the top of the order. Arise grounds out this time, thankfully. Robert making a really nice catch in left center. He closed the gap in a hurry. His legs must be feeling good. I wish that could translate to the offense. Fourth inning, he's got 3 walks already and 0 strikeouts as the inning starts. Issued another walk to Polanco. Now, this is interesting. In this inning, there was a pop-up that Sebi tried to handle in foul territory along the first base line, but Abreu definitely made his voice heard, and Sebi peeled away. Thankfully, no collision. It was handled much better than the issue with Moncada back in the first inning. Nice job. Despite the walk, no damage was done. Fifth inning at 56 pitches, 1 out with a rise up. Another fly ball to center. Robert loses it again. Just cannot see it off the bat. It went over his head again for a double. Buxton crushes the next pitch for a 2-run home run. 6th straight game against the White Sox with a home run. It was 2-1 Twins at this point. 6th inning, despite issuing another walk, Cueto got a big strikeout to end the inning. His final line: 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 5 walks, 3 strikeouts, a home run. And you almost got to say an asterisk. It pitched around those 2 crazy situations by Robert where he lost both of those fly balls. Cueto's ERA sits at 3.50. Gave the Sox another quality start. He leads the team in quality starts, which is amazing. Foster came in for a clean 7th. Liam Hendricks sighting. He comes in the 8th. Important to hold the Twins down here because the Sox ended up tying it up. So you want to see a quick inning here. And Liam Hendricks strikes out the side, is all kinds of excited. Really missed seeing that emotion from Hendricks. Graveman had the 9th after a quick first out. Nick Gordon gets on with a single. He's a threat to run, but a ground ball to TA gets the out at first. Gordon at second with 2 outs. Jeffers with a full count and a line drive to Anderson for the 3rd out. In extras, this is when things just completely fell apart. Joe Kelly had an off day on Sunday because he pitched Friday and Saturday. Arise leads off. He lines one up the middle. That's an RBI base hit because there was a runner on second. It's 3-2 Minnesota. You start hearing some Fire Tony chants at this moment. There was a strikeout of Buxton, walked Correa. We got a 2-0 count to Kepler and La Russa arguing balls and strikes. He gets thrown out, I believe, for the first time this year. It was an odd pitch to get thrown out, too. I mean, this was definitely a ball, but I think it was just building from the evening that got La Russa fired up. So the Kepler walked. You got bases loaded with 1 out. Polanco with a sac fly to left field, 4-2 Minnesota, and then a base hit, 6-2 Minnesota. Kelly gives up 4 runs in the 10th. Banks finally comes on to quiet things down. Just a no good, horrible outing by Joe Kelly. Confusion by Luis Robert in center, and some of the worst base running that I don't think everybody's ever seen. Ever in the history of White Sox baseball. All that stuff needs to get cleaned up immediately, and the Sox need to start getting more consistent offense. You can't have these, I'm going to score 13 runs one game and then score just 3 in another game. Thank goodness for Jose Abreu. He was the only bright spot offensively, really, for the Sox. It's got to go different. We got a lot of games with the AL Central, and the Sox are right back at it on Tuesday. Folks, thank you so much for making this podcast part of your daily routine. You can find the Locked On White Sox podcast absolutely everywhere you find your podcasts. We are on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Sox. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB Prospects. Host Lindsey Crosby is a prospect encyclopedia, and he's going deep on the MLB stars of tomorrow. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up in the next episode, I'll recap Kopech's start and hopefully be talking about a White Sox winner. Appreciate you making time for the Locked On White Sox podcast. I'm Nick Morawski, and until next time, go Sox.